Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
I've been loving these questions you've been submitting these last few episodes as we all seek together how to build high-performance teams. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And today's question, Mark, is a fun question because it's about the best teams that we've ever been on. The question was, tell us about the best team that you were ever a part of and what made them so special. And it just caused me to go back through the Rolodex of my mind, all the teams. I mean, we've been around for a while, so we've been on a lot of teams. But I can think of two or three. You got a favorite team that you were ever a part of that was really cool and maybe something that made them stand out?
Yeah. Goodness gracious. I've got, like you, several. Now, I have a lot that weren't good. We've talked about that too. Growing up, I was never really on a winning team as a kid. And I played on a lot of teams. I began to wonder if I was the problem. But I didn't really care because I love teams so much. So 99%, if not all of my great team experiences have been as an adult, which is good because I've got better memories than I would if they were from my childhood days. I think if I were going to share one, it would be about a group I led in a nonprofit organization and with volunteers, which I would argue volunteers can be more challenging in many respects than employees.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they both have their challenges, but these were men and women who were volunteering because they believed in the cause. And we went to work trying to build a high-performance leadership team. I mean, consciously, because these volunteers were leading other volunteers, and we were leading
hundreds of people. Yeah,
it was a big group that we were responsible for. And we were doing the blocking and tackling, the kind of things we're talking about. And we worked on individual skills, and we worked on team skills, and we worked on building community. And, we kept our eye on the scorecard every month when we met and so forth and so on. We're doing the stuff. And I don't know that I would be able to pinpoint a moment that we became a high-performance team, but I've got a real good clue. We were challenged by the larger organization to set a performance goal. And the team decided to double our historical performance.
Wow.
Double. And as their leader, I had many mixed emotions, many emotions stirring in my head and my heart. It's like, okay, let's see what we can do. And, joined with them in trying to, in a relatively short period of time, double our historical numbers. And we fell just a couple of percentage points short. But that was the day I realized that if performance is the ultimate metric for a high-performance team, That was a high performance team.
It's amazing what you can accomplish.
It is amazing what you can accomplish.
Really
it's like
so. What were some of the things that made that a special team for you? I mean, as you think about it, looking back, obviously performance was.
Yeah, but what made it so special is maybe a willingness to learn and grow. These not only were these volunteers, several of them were not professional, and what I mean by that is they weren't doctors and lawyers and accountants and just regular folks.
Blue collar people.
Some of them weren't even we had people who weren't working who were on this volunteer team.
How about that?
It's so it wasn't, they were talented individuals, don't get me wrong, but they wanted to learn and grow. So they were all about the skills. What skills can we learn individually? What skills can we learn collectively? And I think learning was one of the hallmarks of that group.
Yeah, that's great.
And it was a fun journey. One of the best teams I've ever had the privilege to be a part of.
That's good. Okay, so for me, I was working in a mental hospital, which sounds crazy because I was not qualified to do that. This is 30 years ago, and I hated it. It was so bad. It was such a bad environment. I didn't like it, and I escaped. And
that's interesting.
That is interesting. I say it that way, but I did. I escaped, and I got hired to be a girls basketball coach. Now, when I say girls basketball coach, high school girls basketball coach, this principal of this school, they had a job opening. I wasn't sure I wanted it, but I wanted out of the hospital so bad. I'm like, I got to find something else. This is not good for my mental health to be here. And so I go to this interview, and this guy in the interview, he said just a couple of things here. I was 23 years old at the time. This has been over 30 years ago. He says, number one, I don't care if you win a game or not. He said, we didn't win any games last year, zero. I'm like, okay, this is like, seems like a pretty low bar, but what's number two? He says, you're 23 years old. These are young girls. Don't do anything stupid, and I'm like, and that's it. That's the job description. And I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to get my head around this thing. And so I go, and we start out on the very first day. There's 3 people who come to practice. Now, I don't know if you're listening around the world. You play basketball all over the world, and if you've been to a basketball game, you got to have 5 to have a team. 3 is not going to work. So I'm telling them, you got to go find a sister or a cheerleader or somebody. We got to have at least 5. Go find a couple more people. They end up with 6 the next day. And long story short, we win 3 games the whole year. I mean, we literally didn't get the ball across half court the first game in the first half of the game. It was like we were bad. But we found somebody who was worse, and we played them twice and beat them, and then somehow we won another game. We won 3 games, and it started this journey with this team, and I watched it grow. The cool thing was we had a couple of girls in middle school. I didn't mention that. That was part of the thing too. You get to coach the high school team, but you also have to coach the middle school team, which was good because the middle school team was better than the high school team. I don't think, maybe that was our 3rd win. I don't know. But so anyway, I start coaching this team, and we just start this journey. And by the end, when these girls graduated, these 8th graders got to their last year, we had become a really good team and had a lot of success. Went to a couple of Final Fours in Texas and lost in the championship game the last year. And I look back on that. To me, it was not, when we talk about winning, yes, it's important, but we were winning when we were losing because we were going after. We were building toward something down. Your results are not always a reflection of if you're doing the right thing or not. Results are always a reflection.
Right. They lag.
But they're later. They're lagging. They are, and they come later. And so as I look back on that, I learned so much. But it maybe the most important thing is I got to hang out with those teenage girls for about a decade. Ended up doing that, and then my wife and I ended up having 4 daughters later on. That we thought we were having our own basketball team there for a while. But I learned so much about young people just getting to hang out with them and learn from them, and it would translate into these other areas of my life, which was really cool. But just the camaraderie, the winning together, the losing together, the community of it, and what we've been talking about. And we had some very talented people by the end of it. We got these kids are all state players and their skills are growing, but it was the community, it was the togetherness that was really great. And I'll never forget this. The first Final Four we went to, we were all excited. We're going down to Waco to play in the state semifinal, and we're running out of the tunnel to go out on the court. And our leader, our best player, there'd been a boys game going on right before that, and they had water all over the floor by the benches. And so as they're running out around the court, our leader hits this water and just slips down. And when she does, about 4 or 5 of the girls just pile up on. It was a total disaster mess, as you can imagine, the biggest game we've ever played, and we're all piled up in the floor. Yeah, before the game starts, and it's just everybody gets up, they're laughing. We ended up getting beat pretty bad that day, but it was those memories, those moments where we did this together, and we never would have gotten there had it not been for all those kids buying in. And I heard Coach Krzyzewski say about his first team, he only regrets he wasn't a better coach. I think we probably could have won a championship had I been a better coach, but I was trying to figure it out as well as a 24, 25-year-old. But I think just that question made me think back on these teams that I've been a part of. There are lots of teams that we've been a part of, and there really is something special about it when you get a group of people together going towards something, a common goal. It's one of the most rewarding parts of life, if you ask me. So it's really cool when we look back on that.
Good.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on a team together, man.
Yes, sir.
It's been a lot of fun. We got a couple more questions we'll answer here, But you can have a world-class team, and I hope your teams mean as much to you down the road as ours do to us. I think you'll raise the likelihood of that happening if you'll do everything you can to have a foundation of talent, put skills around and make sure everybody's growing in their team skills, their individual skills. Build that world-class community, focus on results, and your team can do things that are extraordinary. It's pretty amazing. All right, remember, the best leaders lead every day.